All right. My husband wants to spice up our sex life. He has suggested things like role playing, even fantasizing about things like a threesome, sex toys. He said he recognizes that some of it is probably not a good idea, but he's desperate to spice up the bedroom. I'm praying for God to get us on the same page. How do we biblically spice up our sex life?
You're the expert.
I love when
at
they
that.
stare at each other and decide who's
All
going
right,
to answer.
I'm going to take half of it, and then she's going to take the other half. How's that?
Which
All right.
half do I get?
You'll see. All right. I'm going to take the half that involves probably Hannah. We got a lot of questions about what's okay in the bedroom. If we want to spice things up, what are we allowed to do? What can we enjoy? And so we get asked that all the time at Authentic Intimacy. Some of the things coming through our email box are pretty interesting. And like I said, with the issue of masturbation, if you look through Scripture, it's not really clear on some things like role-playing, oral sex, sex toys, things like that. So how does a married couple use discernment? And so Linda and I just challenge a married couple to ask 3 questions that can help you determine whether this is something that honors the Lord in the bedroom. And if you're doing Passion Pursuit or you have done it, you'll see we have a whole chapter, a whole week on this. But the first question we would challenge you to ask as a couple is, has God said no to this act? And God has clearly said that some sexual acts are immoral, that they're things that are not honoring to Him. And He says to flee from sexual immorality. In Passion Pursuit, we list 10 acts that we see that God specifically and clearly says are wrong. And they probably wouldn't surprise you. It's things like incest and orgies, acting out in a homosexual manner, prostitution, adultery, fornication. God clearly says those things are the wrong way to channel your sexuality. So the first question is, God clearly said no to this act. The second question is for those gray areas of, well, God didn't really say no, but I'm still not sure if it's right or wrong. That second question is the question, is this good for us? It says in 1 Corinthians, Paul is saying, you might say as a Christian, all things are permissible for me. I have freedom to do all things. I'm married. We can have all kinds of fun. But then he says, although all things are permissible, not all things are beneficial. In other words, some of the things a married couple might choose to do are not loving. They're not good for you. Bondage is an example of that. Does Scripture say not to do that? Not clearly, but let me tell you, that's not good for you. It's not a healthy way of expressing love. It's not building up. It's something that's dysfunctional. Also, even the example, I can't believe I say these words in church, but anal sex, all right? The Bible doesn't say a whole lot about it, but medical professionals will tell you that that area of the body is very susceptible to infection. It's very thin lining in that area in the body, and so it's not medically beneficial for you. It's not good for you. You have the freedom.
Tell him what the doctor said.
The doctor said God made that to be an exit, not an entrance. Thank you, Linda.
I just love question and answer time.
Yes, I know.
It's just the best.
We're totally unscripted here. So here's the thing, though. What might be good for Linda, Smoking Hot Linda, and her husband Jody might not be good for Hannah and Caleb. That question is very personal, and a couple needs to go before the Lord and say, this thing that we're thinking of doing that we want to try, is this good for us? Or does it trigger something? Is it a stumbling block? Is it something that's loving, or is it something that's not good? So that's a personal question. So did God say no? Is it good for us? And the third question is addressed in this, is it only us? Is it only between me and my husband? Because God has designed the full expression of sexual intimacy to be experienced between a husband and wife in a committed relationship. And that doesn't just mean in person, it also means in our mind and in our heart. Jesus said, if you lust after someone, it's like committing adultery with them in your heart. So if I bring Christian Grey in my bedroom, he doesn't belong there. That's a violation of the intimacy that God designed for me and my husband to share, even though he's fictional. If we watch internet porn, that is a violation. Fantasies that involved a threesome, God would say, no, it's supposed to be between the two of you. Keep it pure. Now, that's the three questions you ask. But the next thing is then, how do we spice it up? And that's where the smoking hot mama, Linda Dillow, is going to take over.
Family Life has a product that I was involved in helping with called Simply Romantic Nights. And it has 12 creative ideas for the wife to bring to the relationship and 12 for the husband to bring. You could order that from Family Life or get it on Amazon and give it to your husband. And by doing that, you'd say, okay, this is from a Christian perspective. We can trust it, but I want to spice up our relationship, so I'd recommend that. My husband and I, with another couple, wrote a book called Intimacy Ignited, which is a popular commentary on the Song of Solomon, a marriage book, and a Bible study for you to do with your husband about your sexual relationship that will get you talking and sharing what's important to both of you, and I think would bring more spice to your relationship. Do we have that out there?
We do. We have Intimacy Ignited out for sale at the table, and obviously we have Passion Pursuit as well, which gives lots of examples and biblically accurate ways to spice up your sex life. So,
It's coming.
another great resource.